Want to know what fats are my go-to sources? Here they are. Alright guys, even though my dietary fats tend to be on the lower side compared to most competitors and athletes, I do enjoy these handful of fats, and let's go through them one at a time. The first one we're going to start with here is extra virgin olive oil. Per tablespoon, it's going to be 12 grams of fat. You can drizzle that over your chicken and rice, pour it over your turkey, put it over a salad if you want to use it that way. I don't typically recommend cooking with this as it doesn't have a good cook temperature, but some things you want to think about with olive oil. If you get it in a plastic container, no go. You want this thing to be glass and you want it to be dark. So even though it is going to cost you a little bit of money for a higher quality olive oil, the nutrient contents and the fat source in that is going to be far superior than your other options there. All right, next up for oils is going to be coconut oil. As you guys know, that's one of my absolute favorites. For me, that digests extremely well. I have that pre-lift in every single time I have chicken, rice, and an apple. And I cook my chicken and rice in that, and it gives it a great sweet taste. It gives me a great saturated fat, and it, again, digests really well. It doesn't sit heavy in my stomach like most fats tend to do for me. So again, that if I had to pick of all of these, this is my absolute favorite because A, it tastes delicious, it's relatively cost effective. Even though you will pay, say, $10 for a jar of this, there's a ton of servings in it. So again, I use about 8 to 10 grams per serving. A tablespoon of that's obviously going to be 14 grams. So with this fat source, very similar to the olive oil that goes great over meat and rice. Next up, this tends to be everyone's favorite, and where a lot of competitors or just clients in general go overboard, these next two in specific. So peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter all work relatively the same in terms of fat source. I tend to lean towards peanut butter. I like to mix that in cream of rice. I like to put it over rice cakes, or just have a tablespoon or two with my protein shakes. What you want to make sure when you are looking for a peanut butter is you look at the ingredient label. So with this Smucker's in particular, you will find that the ingredients are peanuts and salt, and that is it. You want to look, and because sometimes even though they're at a healthy grocery store, let's say you're at Whole Foods or Fresh Market, make sure you look because they like to sneak in like palm oil, sugar, molasses, like Jif, for example. Jif has a natural peanut butter. Look at that ingredient label. It's really long. Even though it's better than the regular Jif, it's not nearly, in my opinion, as high quality. It's going to be the Smucker's version, or you just simply ground up peanuts at your local Fresh Market. Next up, nuts. Here today I have organic cashews that I got from Earth Fare. You can go with walnuts, pecans, you can do pistachios. To me, that doesn't really matter. The nut source, whatever tastes good to you and is palatable. You can do a lot of almonds if you are into that. I know a lot of competitors do that. Again, I tend to like nuts that pair well with meat and rice, and to me, I love to put cashews in chicken and rice meals. It tastes delicious to me. So, or if you want to snack quick, easy on the go with a protein shake, you can have a handful of nuts. So again, what you have to remember, 28 grams of nuts on the scale is going to be roughly 14 grams of fat. So if your goal is fat loss, be very cognizant of how much you eat. If you ate this entire portion here, you're probably looking at 50 grams of fat. So again, make sure you measure those. Just don't dig into a bag and start hammering away. They will add up the calories really, really quickly. So again, I like cashews here, pecans, walnuts, almonds, all great options. Next up, avocado. Of this group, this is my least favorite because one, it slows digestion because of the fiber in it, but two, I'm just not a big, huge fan of the taste. Are there plenty of health properties? Yes, absolutely. Do some people love guacamole? You can make that with some salsa or some fresh tomatoes and onions and some garlic, 100%. But for me, I'm not personally into it. I do put that on a lot of people's plans in terms of putting it on top of a salad or a piece of chicken, or even over your eggs and toast for breakfast as a way of getting some extra fat in there. So again, avocado, great source, not for me, but a lot of people like it. So what we're gonna finish this video with here is gonna be the grass-fed butter. Kerrygold, that's relatively inexpensive. Most people think the fancy butters like that are gonna be a little more on the pricey side, but if you look per portion, and a half of a tablespoon is gonna be 6 grams of fat, a full tablespoon is gonna be 12. You can put that over some Ezekiel bread, you can cook with it. All of it tastes really good. Years ago, I used to do the Ezekiel English muffins that are cinnamon raisin, and I'd put half a tablespoon on each half. It was a great option to add fat to it with a protein shake meal. Hammer it, tastes really good. Like I mentioned with the protein video, you can drizzle it over or cook the shrimp in it. Another great option there. So those are all our direct fat sources. If you look back at the protein video, you'll find the whole eggs, the beef, and the salmon are all going to be great options for fat sources as well. And that's something that people don't tend to consider. If you have a mixed protein, like I said, for the beef, for the flank steak, for the ground beef, and for the salmon, what you're going to look at is that's going to have a good chunk of your healthy fats in it already. So you may not need to add any of this. So again, what I want to think about when I'm building a nutrition plan, if you're doing one on your own, if you're one of those guys or girls who struggle to pack on weight, then easily add any of this, especially the oils, because it doesn't take up space in your stomach and it's very calorie dense. So if you're struggling to get your food down, I would stay away from things that are high fiber, like this avocado, for example, because that's going to slow the digestion rate of your food. So that's kind of the way all fat sources work, is they're going to satiate you a little bit longer. If you've ever done, say, keto, or you've done a lot of mixed meals, meaning protein, carbs, and fat, you'll find that you aren't nearly as hungry through the day than if you just eat, say, protein only or protein and carbs with a vegetable. Those meals tend to run through you really quickly. Like if you notice, like post-lift, let's say you have 2 or 3 scoops of whey or whey isolate, you have some fruit, you have some Rice Krispie treats, and next thing you know, a couple hours later, or an hour later, you are absolutely starving. Where if you put a fat source with that, it's going to slow the digestion rate down and also give you a nice bump in healthy quality calories. So to kind of wrap this video up, post below all the types of fats that I may have left out for the things that you like or that you're interested in learning more about. Thanks, guys.